If you are learning fashion designing and you don't understand the basic terms, you will keep getting confused. When I started, I didn't understand most of these terms, but once I learned them, everything became easier. So let me show you some important fashion terms every beginner must know. Seam. So this is the first one we'll be talking on. We have seam. This simply means a place where two fabrics are joined together. So it's just as simple as that, as you have seen in this picture right here. Then we have seam allowance. This is the extra space between that seam and the edge of the fabric. Then we have hem. Yes, hem. When you hear hem, it simply means the folded parts, the finished folded parts at the end of clothes like trousers, skirts, and gowns. So this is what hem means. At times you hear the word fittings, first fittings, second fittings. So this simply means when you are done with your customer clothes, they come to check out the clothes, to wear the clothes, to see if there is any adjustments or not. So that is what fittings means. When your customer try out the clothes you make for them, that is fitting. The next one is pattern. So when I started, actually I did not start with pattern, how to draft patterns, but as time goes on, I learned how to make use of patterns. And patterns are just like to guide you on how you can cut your fabrics without making mistakes. Yes, pattern help you to notice mistakes early and correct it. It also helps you in order to avoid wastage of fabrics. So that is what patterns are used for. Another one is dart. Yes, when you hear the word dart, it is just fold sewn into fabrics in order to give that your clothes fitted look. Yes, that helps in giving clothes fitted look. It's mostly around the bust area, the waist area, or the hips area. So that is what that means. So the next one we have is notches. Yes, when you hear the word notches, these are just small cuts that are made on clothes to give them that flat look. So when you hear notch, it is just a small cut on some part of the clothes to give them a flat look and to make them relax on the body. So the next one we have is facing. Facing is just like a piece of fabric that is cut out in order to make rough edges look neat. So we use facing for mostly the neck area, the armhole, so in order to keep those rough edges neat. So that is what facing is used for. Yes, when you hear the word top stitching, this simply means putting a stitch, a visible stitch outside of your garment. It is either you use it to put your stitch in place or to give like a design on the outer look of your garment. So that is what top stitching is all about. The next one is interfacing. When you hear the word interfacing, this simply means putting on or adding extra materials to fabrics in order to make them strong, in order to give them structure, and in order to give them support. So this is what interfacing simply means. So next I'll be talking on is basting, or you can call it loose thread. Yes, this is like a temporary stitch you give a cloth before you give it the final stitch that you will use to hold it in place. So basting is just a temporary stitch, a loose stitch that you run on a cloth before you give it that normal stitch that you use to hold the clothes together. Next time I'll be talking on is ease. When you hear ease, it simply means additional allowance that you give to clothes to make it comfortable on the body. So that is just what ease means. So ease allowance is different from seam allowance. The next term I'll be talking on is the selvage. Yes, this is the finished part of the fabric that keeps it from fraying. So it is that end part of the fabric that protects the whole fabric from fraying. That is what selvage simply means. I'll be talking on is stitch. Stitch, it simply means when you put your clothes on machine and it's sew. That is what stitch simply means, or the stitch that you make using your needle and thread. So that is what stitch simply means. What your machine does to the fabric is called stitching. So that is stitch. So understanding these terms will help you to follow tutorials easily and to improve faster. And if you are a beginner, don't rush. Learn the basics, then you improve from there as time goes on. And if you find this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video.